Welcome in, everyone, to episode 7 of Paid for Play, powered by Pick City. Please be sure to head over to the YouTube stream over at Daily Bread Media or the Yonkers CFB YouTube channels, either one of those, if you want to get your comments in the chat. Because Twitter has disabled our ability to show those comments. I know Rex will be monitoring Twitter for any comments so we can try to get those in. But yeah, it's another great slate we have today. I'm looking forward to it. Today we have a newcomer to the show, Simba. How we feeling this morning?
Feeling good, man. You guys got me up a little early. I'm on the West Coast. So, trying to get into the groove of things. And I don't drink caffeine, so it's all natural.
Oh, man. That's a rough way to start the morning right there. But we're also joined. Rex is back. I'm sure Sosa will be hopping in here at some point. We got the bad boys of gambling, Twitter, a.k.a. the most recent sellouts. How you feeling, Rex?
Feeling great. I guess you got to throw some shade if I'm coming into your show with the Kentucky shirt on. Yeah, you get back at me somehow. But, hey, any press ain't bad press, so it's been pretty good. Got some good winners for us today. Man. Hype for it. But you're hating on, or Eddie's doing it all natural. I saw you got the tall boy going over there.
Me? No, this is an energy drink. That's all caffeine. JD, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. I'm also on the West Coast, Simba, so still waking up. That's always how I am on the show, just still waking up. But I do drink caffeine, so I'm just working on getting caffeinated here and looking at some lines.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into it.
Some gambling lines, I mean.
Yeah.
Just want to make that clear.
You said the caffeine. I mean, I don't think anyone was going that way, but now it seems like it's a little sketch. You're just creating a defense out of thin air. I don't know. We'll start with Oklahoma, Texas, Red River shootout. I will not say showdown. Well, it's probably one of the better games of the day. Kicking off 12 o'clock, high noon in the Cotton Bowl. Oklahoma getting 3.5. Anyone have anything? Rex, we'll start with you, I guess. Have anything on the game?
Will they ever not play this game here? I mean, or when will they at least get like a new stadium at that point? Just from everything I've seen, it's just run down more than anything. But this is a game, especially when you're getting it at noon. If you want to get your day started right, when you get a total at 65.5 and 3.5 on the 3.5 spread, this is your nice little, I'm going to live gamble and let's have some fun in the morning, because in this game with 65.5, you're going to get both teams at 1 point to be favored. So that's where if you lock in the 3.5 with Texas now, I think that would be the smart way to go. And then you'll be able to get a plus number in OU. And we know these games go back and forth. So I think we see a high scoring game. And I would be betting this one 100% live.
Good advice. JD, you have anything?
No, I like the Oklahoma side, but I just can't play it the way they've looked. Am I frozen or am I good?
We hear you fine. Your screen's right. Frozen a little bit.
Cool. Basically, what it comes down to for me is this Texas offense looks great when they play bad defenses, which they played a lot of. They played one pretty good defense in Arkansas, and they just totally shut down. So this Oklahoma defense is pretty good. Are they as good as Arkansas's? I don't know. And I think that's what the game hinges on. So if I see any side blowing them out, which this game's almost never a blowout, I would think it would be Oklahoma. But there's no way I could play it. They're not playing great. Texas is rolling. I'm just going to lay back and watch.
Yep. This is always like just set it and forget it, take the over for me. I don't care how good the defenses are. I don't care how shitty the offenses have looked. It always seems to have a little bit of a wild twist at the end. So I'll take the over 10 times out of 10. Just throw it in there and forget it. Simba, you have anything?
Yeah, this is a game I don't know why I'm paying so much attention to this game. You guys can hear me fine, no? Okay, great. I don't know why I'm paying so much attention to this game. I've talked about it for the last 3 days over and over, but I like Texas. I like the side of Texas in this game. They got an explosive offense. Sark's got them boys running nice. Give me Texas, man. Yeah, I really do like it. And like you said, set it, forget it. I think I will be playing the over. We know how these games go. Last year was a crazy one. I'm assuming we'll see another one this year. Both these defenses are less than stellar. I know JD said that Oklahoma's defense is just a little bit better. It's going to come down to who can get the stops, you know what I mean, and who can get a few, because I think we're going to see points galore in this game.
Yeah, it feels like Texas's offense has had like a different step to it since they went to the freshman at quarterback. Bijan's gonna be Bijan. I mean, he's an animal. He's a very good running back.
Man.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a shootout. I don't know how you don't take the over. The game was literally called a shootout. You have to take the over. Those are the rules.
Oklahoma's rushing defense is, I think, going to be the one thing that can have them cover the spread if it's going to be covered. Because if they can, you're not going to be able to control Bijan at this point of what he's shown. Just contain him, keep him to like 150 yards, try not to get him in the end zone or only once. And that's the way I think Oklahoma covers it. But like the fellas said, I think taking the 3.5 with Texas is definitely the smart way to initially start, and then you'll be able to get plus money on OU at some point.
Yeah, in the last few years, it's always been like if Texas is the underdog, just take it because Herman had such a good record as an underdog. But, I mean, with the way Sark's had the guys going, I mean, it's just hard to tell, especially with how Oklahoma's been playing. But we'll move on to another noon game. Arkansas at Ole Miss. Both teams kind of look exposed last week. Over-under set at 66.5. Arkansas is getting 5 on the road. It feels to me like Arkansas just is maybe a little bit more banged up. I know JD's on the Arkansas bandwagon for the season. It's just Texas A&M and Georgia back-to-back weeks. Now they have to go play Ole Miss, and which will probably be like kind of like a personal revenge game for Matt Corral after last year where he threw 6 interceptions, I think it was, against Arkansas. But JD, how you feeling about the game as our resident Hogs fan?
I'm not feeling great. Like you said, I think this might be the most difficult scheduling spot of any team all year. They face 4 ranked teams in a row without a bye week. They're banged up after Georgia, and they're literally banged up to KJ Jefferson, dual threat quarterback. Does not look anywhere close to healthy. Traylon Burks hasn't been healthy all year. Those are the 2 top offensive weapons. And it's not like they could go score for score with Ole Miss anyway. So what it's going to come down to is, can they confuse Matt Corral? Can Barry Odom cook up a good game plan like he did last year, which Barry Odom's a freaking genius. I don't know how he but anyway, yeah, so both teams are bet on. I said last week I'm not going to bet against Ole Miss all year long. I'm not exactly in a hurry to bet against Arkansas because they've proven that they're undervalued at the betting window for the last 2 years. They've been way undervalued. So I'm just going to sit back and watch. Nothing for me. Great game.
Rex, what about you?
This is the spot where whatever team's coming off Bama, whatever team's coming off Georgia, I always try to potentially look to fade. As JD said, they're usually banged up, but they just happen to be playing each other this week. And Arkansas, I think they'll definitely they'll score more than 0 points. I can guarantee you that. Lock that in. Whale unit of the day. But if I had to go anywhere in this game, I think Ole Miss should be able to move it on the Arkansas defense, even though how improved, how much better it is. I just think Lane, after coming up short on a bunch of 4th downs early against Bama, made that game get ugly quick. So I think the first half side with Ole Miss minus 3.5 is the way I'm going to be rocking with it here. I don't want to lay a 5. I hate that I have to get the hook here, but I have it at even money. That's my first play. So I just think Ole Miss comes out hot out of the gate. Arkansas will adjust at halftime, and I think they do make it interesting. I do believe Arkansas is a good second half adjustment team potentially here, but the quarterback's banged up. I just think Ole Miss defense just don't show the signs that you are this season and not last season. Just keep it that way.
Yeah, Simba?
Yeah, this won't be a game that I bet. I'll keep my eye on it. I think what we're seeing again, we're going to see 2 teams. One team that statistically their defense is pretty good. Offense is crazy talented on the other side. What's going to give? I think we will see points. Rex said Arkansas will not go with the 0 in this game.
Whale play.
Lock it in. If you can find it, over 1 point somewhere. I think there's somewhere out there, some book carries at like minus 1,000 or something crazy. or 10,000. But yeah, it's not a game that I have a lean on. If I did lean away, I'd lean Ole Miss. But yeah, it's just a game I'll watch. Somebody brought it up earlier in the week, maybe Ole Miss's team total, something like that. But it's not something I'm interested in playing at all.
Yeah, I just think after the popcorn debacle last week, the way Ole Miss is kind of leaning into it as like with all the free popcorn they're giving out this week, and Lane trying to not just have another letdown with the offense. I don't see how they don't at least put up 30. I mean, if Barry Odom has another great scheme and causes 6 interceptions by Matt Corral, it's not, you can't look for that to happen, but I think Arkansas is just too banged up heading into the game. So I have Ole Miss -6, got that earlier in the week as an official play for me. Might look into the first half, like you said there, Rex. But we'll move on to the Old South's deepest rivalry, or the Deep South's oldest rivalry. I think I got that backwards. Georgia going to Auburn. Georgia laying 15 or giving 15. Over under set at 46.5, 3:30 on CBS. I don't know how our Auburn scores in this game. I don't see it happening. Yeah, they had they couldn't run the ball on LSU, or I don't know if they didn't try to run the ball. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball against Georgia. And they're going to have Bo Nix win a game against a Georgia defense and not just a shitty LSU defense that can't tackle. So we'll go with Simba. You got anything for the game? On mute.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. I like a first half play in this game. I like Georgia first half. I think we're going to see Georgia come out and just come with that same energy, man. They got the best defense in the nation. Their defensive line is just nasty. I think so. For me, I don't have the lineup right now, but I'll give it out at the end of the show whenever we give out our picks. But I like Georgia first half. Again, like you said, I don't see how Auburn's going to score in this game. Bo Nix might throw 6 interceptions. The guy is trash. Bo Nix, probably one of the worst quarterbacks in the nation for me.
And LSU made him look good. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, right?
He looked like a fucking Heisman last week.
Oh, my goodness. First round pick, right? It's him or Graham Mertz. One of the two for me. Those two guys just are horrible. But yeah, I don't see Auburn being able to score much in this game. Give them 3 points, maybe. Spot them 3 points in the beginning of the game as things are going. Maybe late, doesn't matter. Give me first half Georgia all day long.
Yeah. Rex, you got anything?
That was the way I was going, is how is Auburn going to potentially score here? But at the same time, after shutting a team out, you're going on the road now. And Bo Nix still, I think he looked semi-competent, I guess, last week and got lucky in a few spots and just pulled it out of his ass. Georgia's not going to allow him to make 2 or 3 circus plays like he did last week. I think they're going to completely own it. I know you guys have plays in the first half. I don't have a play in this game. For some reason, if Georgia is tied or barely winning at halftime, this is where I'll probably have a big bet at halftime or a 1-unit play at halftime. Is if this play is any bit Georgia under 7 at halftime, I'll probably be laying it there, but I'm staying off this pregame just because all signs just show to Georgia in a beatdown. Auburn with, I don't know how many fucking points, definitely under 20.
Yeah, I have an official play on Auburn team total under 14.5. I have Georgia first half, Georgia full game. Georgia's defense hasn't given up, their starters haven't given up a touchdown all year. I don't see it happening in this game. I just think Auburn, their offensive line isn't very good. Even if Bo Nix does have that like special game or similar to last week, I just don't think they have the offensive line or the receivers to get open or block Georgia's defense up front. JD, you have any official plays on the game? I will say it's nice to see Sosa in the chat. Probably a little scared to come on after what happened to Notre Dame last week. It's a tough loss for him. well, JD, you got anything?
Shit. Woody Page is about to appear.
No. Yeah, I played the under in this game. I agree with pretty much all the points you guys made. Georgia's defense is allowing 3 points per game. I think they threw a pick 6 in there with one of their garbage backup quarterbacks. I played it last week at the same number against Arkansas, 47. playing it again here. I don't get why it wasn't adjusted. They blocked a punt for a touchdown, and the game still went pretty comfortably under. They have a suffocating defense, and we know they just like to sit on the ball if they get a lead. And you guys are on the first half. I do think they get a lead. I think they sit on the ball. I think that's what's going to happen in pretty much every Georgia game until they play Alabama.
Yeah, I don't know what maybe it's like a kind of like with the number last week, I was kind of begging you to take Arkansas. It seems like it's kind of begging you to take Georgia, but I don't think it's going to be that like same letdown spot. Like Georgia's just too good. Their entire defense is probably like future first round picks or first and second round picks. So I just don't think Kirby lets them have a letdown spot here. And Auburn, in a similar way, is probably coming in with a little letdown after their first win at LSU and since 1999. So
I got a quick question real quick.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that Auburn's defense is going to be a problem for this Georgia offense at all?
I mean, I think they could slow them down, but I don't think Auburn's defense, especially like I think Stetson Bennett is actually able to hit a couple deep shots with how many busts Auburn's defense has given up so far. I mean, they might be able to slow the run down a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere close enough to not have Georgia cover, but it might help play into that under, like JD's saying. So, yeah, I mean, JD, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, they have a decent defense. I think their D-line's all right. And Georgia hasn't ran the ball well this year. Hard to do considering they're playing with a 30-point lead all the time. They still haven't managed the ball. The stats are a little skewed because they're playing their backups all game, right? It's a lot of garbage time. But especially if Stetson Bennett's playing back there, I don't think Georgia wants to like score 40 in this game. Like I don't think that's how they want to win. We've seen them win, so I think they can hit some big shots early, like Sam was saying, because they always hit big shots with those athletes. I think they're clearly going to have the better athletes on the field, but over the course of a full game, I don't see that happening for 4 quarters.
Yeah, the offensive line plus Darnell Washington, their huge tight end, is back and healthy. Like after they get that lead, they're just going to coast in the run game because they just have like 4 5-star running backs that they can just rotate in and just pound the rock and hold the ball for the rest of the game. So yeah, I think I'm going to add under for the game as well to the card. Just have this game be my hopefully big winner of the day if everything goes according to plan. We'll move on to I guess the biggest game of the day in Iowa City, Penn State, Iowa, top 5 matchup. I think the line was down to 1.5 before the show. Penn State getting 1.5. How are we feeling on this, fellas? I'll start with Rex on this one.
Probably there's one other game that I've probably looked over more than this one here because everybody that I've heard and talked to, except for one other person, has been on the home side here. And when we're looking at the number, they're giving Penn State 1 point on the neutral. And Penn State's won the last 3 times that they've gone into Iowa here with Franklin at the helm. They know what it takes to go into Iowa, especially this game is not one of their night games, but still they know what it takes to go in there. Clifford is your biggest question mark here because we've seen the teams have tried to attack Iowa. We gave this out on Daily Bread. You can't be focused on the line of scrimmage. Taking your shots down the field further is a lot rougher with that. We saw Talia do after he got burned at the line of scrimmage a lot. So if Penn State can establish the run game, I'm just not 100% sold in Iowa's offense yet this season, where I do think this game is low scoring potentially. But at 41, I don't want to be playing an under here, even though how much I'm sold on both of these defenses. I do not want to be playing a 41 here because there's a side that I see Iowa blowing them out. But if you had to force me to take this one, I'd be on Penn State, but it's not an official play, and I'm not betting it. And I don't like Penn State that much whatsoever, but this year I do think they're potentially the real deal.
Yeah, I think I've already added my 1 under for the day. I've told myself I need to quit betting college football unders because the games just don't fucking end, and like a sure doubt winner as an under could lose, like just like the Clemson game earlier against NC State this season. They should have that should have been a no doubt easy winner under, and that game went to overtime and fucked everyone that had it. So, but yeah, I do like both of these teams. Yeah,
I
I've
think
moved
Sam
on.
had
I've
it,
moved
guys.
on from that. I've moved on from that one clearly. But yeah, I like both defenses. I think Iowa's defense kind of. I think a lot of people wanted to pick Maryland last week, and then Iowa's defense just kind of showed up, and their offense looked a little better than it had. Um, their offense has been getting a lot of criticism. I still think it's good enough with accompanied by that defense to let them win this game. I think Clifford maybe throws a couple interceptions. The defense has caused 3 pick sixes already this season. So we'll see if that has any factor. I think Kinnick's going to be rocking. It'll be a great game. It feels like a very Big Ten, like 10-7 type game. Even though I'm not going to play the under, I feel like that's what the score will be around. JD, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, no play for me, but I did ponder a Penn State play all week, actually. I just think they're the better team. Like Rex said, they've gone in there, they've won before. I don't trust Iowa's offense at all. Their numbers are skewed by all those pick sixes they get. Basically, anytime I see a team that has a 16-4 turnover ratio, they've caused 16 turnovers, only committed 4. It just seems a little fluky to me. I can't rely on that from game to game, whereas I know Penn State's a good team. I can at least rely on that from game to game. Still didn't end up playing it. It just seems like a close, low-scoring game. Anything could happen. Like you mentioned, Sean Clifford could throw a couple picks. Iowa could keep that turnover train going. That's a bad combination, him versus Sean Clifford. So I just decided I'm just going to sit back and watch this one.
Has any team started with better field position the entire season than Iowa? I feel like every single time
Georgia,
they're above
maybe.
their own 35 minimum. And against Maryland, they just started at Maryland's 40.
Georgia did the same thing against Arkansas. They start at midfield every single game or every single drive in that first half. So I agree. Like Iowa's field position has been fantastic. I mean, that's what's probably helped them be so dominant or look so dominant this season. Even if it is a little bit of fool's gold. But Simba, what do you got on this one?
So for me, it's simple. It's Iowa or nothing. I know Iowa's at a pick'em, and I know Iowa's at a pick'em, and they probably should be getting about 5 points here at home, maybe 3.5. But don't overthink this game. Iowa's going to win. They're at home. Give me the better coach, in my opinion. I mean, people were calling for James Franklin's head last year, in the beginning of the year. Iowa's on an 11-game winning streak dating back to last year, and on top of it all, man, I just like you said, guys said, that defense is nasty. They got an offensive line that's probably should be in the NFL. I know their center will probably be a first-round pick, that's for sure. Speaking of Iowa, I think Goodson gets off, man, and that quarterback's going to do just enough to manage the game and not give it up. So give me Iowa at home with that rocking crowd, man. Easy.
Yeah. I have an official play on Iowa as well. It's just one of those where I kind of want to have some action on the game. I don't really trust the under, even though that's how I feel like that's how the game will play out. But it'll be a great game to watch. I mean, it's a classic Big Ten game. We're probably going to see a shit ton of punts. So we'll move on. Another Big Ten showdown, ABC game or primetime game of the night. Michigan going to Nebraska. I don't know how the spread is what it is. If it's just a letdown for Michigan, I don't understand it. Someone talk some sense into me. I don't get it. Make it make sense.
I didn't look at this game at all. I don't care about this game. Total pass.
I do not care about this game. Just throwing it right off the docket real quick. I think it's corner nothing here. I got them at +3 at -115. I got that yesterday in after talking with some people there. And I just think this is a huge letdown spot for Michigan here. I'm almost tempted. Nebraska was this close to being the hungry dog of the week. I got a different spot for that one here. But I'm just not trusting this Michigan team. They can keep winning these games in impressive fashion. It just seems like Scott Frost, sure, at Nebraska, minimal signs of life at best. This is the game that will keep them here for 2 more years at minimum when they win outright. So get the +3. I got a -115.
Yeah, I don't understand it. at all. Like I don't get why the line is what it is. I mean, if Michigan keeps winning, it's not going to matter. They're still going to lose to probably Penn State because they have to go to Penn State and they have to play Ohio. They're going to lose against Ohio State. It's just what Jim Harbaugh does. So I mean, even if they win this game, it's not going to impress me any way, shape, or form. So I mean, I got nothing. Simba, do you have anything on it? I know I just put it on here because it was the ABC game, but it just feels like it feels like a shitty like filler game. So.
Did you swing that to me? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I look at it like this. I won't have a play on the game, but Rex, I know you said Nebraska, Scott Frost, and all these things, man. I think Scott Frost should have been fired in the first game of the season, honestly. But if Michigan's gonna do it, it has to be this year, right? With the start that they're doing, Jim Harbaugh. I mean, I know he's got a lifetime contract with Michigan, it seems like, but if he's not beating Ohio State, he's not even sniffing the playoff game. I know they brought him there to beat Ohio State, but I just don't see a situation where if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? And this is one of those games where you have to win. And I just don't know. And when there's too many questions and not enough answers, I got to stay off, man.
I'd hate to break it to you, Simba. He's not going to do it.
I don't think he will either.
He's not going to do it. It's just not going to happen.
It has to be now.
I agree. This is what happens like just about every other year. Like you get excited about Michigan's start. They get off to this great start every other year, and then come the end of the year, they fucking blow it. Like they look like shit.
I just don't think these teams are there's as big of a gap as people are assuming there to be. I'm giving a little bit of factor into home field advantage here and with the 3 points. I mean, people might not want to admit it, but Nebraska is probably a top 30 offense and defense and could break into the top 25. And sure, Michigan's top 15 to top 20 in each of those categories as well, probably top 10. But that's where I just think Nebraska pulls it out. I could look dumb because there's definitely a way Michigan runs away and just makes Nebraska at home just another egg. But we're back in the corn here today. It's not their basketball program. I feel confident.
I mean, Nebraska's defense was able to get like enough stops to keep them in the game against Oklahoma at home. I mean, I could see it happening similarly here. We'll see how it plays out, or I won't see it because I'll be out. But we'll move on. Nightcapper, CBS primetime game. Really just a shitty pick for CBS. Like absolutely terrible game for them to pick as their primetime game for the one primetime game they get all year. Alabama, A&M. A&M is it feels like all week I've seen a lot of these like midnight yell videos come out and everyone's just fucking roasting them because it's such a cult. It looks so weird. Like it's so cringy watching all these videos, but I got 2 official plays on the game: Alabama first half, Alabama full game. Like I strayed away from it last week. I'm done. I'm on that train the rest of the season. I don't care. Rex, do you have anything
for this one? Man, numbers, but numbers always don't like the top team. They're definitely saying take the 18 here with Texas A&M, but it's just something I just don't want to be doing come late Saturday night. But if this number continues to get steamed and does get to a 19.5, 20 point, then it might be pushing my arm since Alabama does have the night game. I mean, first half, yeah, lay it with Alabama. I'm never going to make an argument against Alabama first half because that's just foolishness to do. But the full game, I just don't know how Texas A&M is going to be able to move the ball against Bama's defense. That's my biggest concern and why I do not want to touch the 20 or 18 currently sitting out there. But if it does get to 20, I'm going to be very, very tempted. But Sam, don't let me do it.
Don't do it. Just take the 18. What have you seen from A&M that's showing you they can compete with Alabama? Their offensive line is shit. Like their defense maybe holds Alabama's offense to 34. Like I don't think this is kind of like the Auburn game. I don't know. I don't see A&M scoring more than 10.
Texas A&M has the worst quarterback currently in the SEC, which is the biggest reason why I'm not doing it. But at the skill position at wide receiver, I do like what Texas A&M has there. At running back, I do like what they have there. So if they're able to get the run going with Isaiah Spiller, I think they can hang within this number because Texas A&M isn't going to try to go fast with Alabama.
They lost
That's
to
my
Mississippi
biggest
State,
thing.
bro. Just think about that. All day, whenever you as you watch that number climb, just remember, A&M lost to Mississippi State at home.
When I'm looking at this game, I'm looking at a team in A&M that just can't move the ball down the field. They don't have many explosive plays. Alabama doesn't give up many big plays. And have we really seen a team just grind it out against Alabama and come away with a win? Possibly a cover, but I'm not putting my money on A&M. And I tell you right now, I had to bring this up because it made me remember earlier this year. There's a big-ass sign in Alabama's locker room, and it's of, what did he say? Who was it? Jimbo Fisher. What did he say this year? We're going to beat Saban's ass when he's there, right? Yeah. Saban's going to come out here and dog these guys, man. 18, 20, I don't care what it is. Just lay it if you feel like it. But first half, Alabama, money. You know what I mean? I don't
like
see
19 straight. It's literally the easiest money you are going to make.
Easy money, man. Vegas is going to continue to give us that, so I'm going to continue to take it. And again, I don't see a situation where isn't A&M on like their third string quarterback?
It's the second string.
It's second string, but
the sad part is that battle went like right up until the first game, and then their other starter got hurt. So that tells you just how bad of a situation they're in. That this guy almost won the job coming out, and he is awful.
Yep,
they were the most overrated team coming into the season, and that's coming from an LSU fan. So
Jimbo Fisher, great recruiter, but he can't sniff Saban's jockstrap in this situation. Alabama's clearly the more talented team. They have the weapons on both sides of the ball. They have the players. So yeah, give me Alabama, man, minus 18. I'm not afraid to take it, but I will be on that first half.
They're gonna have a $10 million coach be 0-3 in the SEC to start the year. So if that's what $10 million gets you, I don't want to pay that. So
and it's just gonna get even that much tougher with the new boys coming next in a few years too.
Yeah, and I don't see any way Alabama doesn't cover this spread. Like the A&M gave them the bulletin board material. I understand that A&M's been looking forward to this game all off season and everything. Everyone does whenever you play Alabama. Like that's the game you circle on the calendar. Like we're going to try to beat them. Like it's not going to happen though. So I think it's probably similar to what it's been the last few years, where like Alabama's up 24 at half, and then maybe kind of gets to like 21-ish, and then Alabama pulls away to close the game. But that'll be all the main games we talk about. JD, you have any? Oh, JD, my bad. Go ahead.
You guys hit all the points, so I won't hit on them. I will say this is usually the game I look forward to, like preseason. I look forward to auto bet Alabama versus Texas A&M because you pretty much can't value Alabama high enough in the betting market, in my opinion. And Texas A&M is consistently overvalued. I think we all agree on that point. Now, they've sucked so bad, I don't know if they're overvalued anymore. I think everyone finally realizes they were a paper tiger. I actually was on Texas A&M in that Colorado game. Somebody pointed it out in the comments, and they were 100% correct. Yes. They looked so bad in that Colorado game. They could not move the ball. They were beaten at the line of scrimmage from the majority of that game by Colorado. The Colorado team that just got ran all over by USC. USC hasn't been able to run the ball in 5 years. They ran the ball all down Colorado's throat. That's a USC team that Oregon State took them to the woodshed in the trenches. So everything's just pointing. There's no positive signs for Texas A&M here. All this being said, for some reason, I don't have an Alabama bet. I don't know what it is. I think it's that I'm not totally sold on the offense being the juggernaut they have been in years past. So I could see this being low scoring, but at 51 in an Alabama game, I'm not going to play that under. So all that being said, I have no bet, but I would lean Alabama.
It's definitely not the juggernaut that it has been, but it's still just like the best one of the top two offensive lines in college football with a great quarterback, great weapons, and great running. And like you can't go against it. You're just kind of giving away your money. But JD, we'll go right back to you. Do you have any DFS advice for us today? Best DFS guy in the game. You have anything?
No DFS advice, but I've been absolutely smashing these prize picks. So if you're not signed up on prize picks, you need to go check those out. I'm going to give out some prize picks because that's what I have open right now.
Let's do it.
So I like to play 5 of them. You can play less than that if you'd like to, but here are the 5 that I'm feeling pretty good about. I like Demetrius Robertson, wide receiver, Alabama, under 10.5 fantasy points. We talked about that Auburn offense. Woof. Spencer Petras, under 16.5 fantasy points. Iowa's quarterback. We talked about that one. Over under 41.5. Why are you giving me 16 fantasy points? Bailey Zappi, 369 passing yards. We're going over. Western Kentucky's quarterback. He averages over 400 passing yards per game. That's first in the entire country. I don't understand why we are getting 40 yards below his average. Makes no sense. We're going over. Khalil Shakir, over 5.5 receptions. He's only gone under this mark like 2 times in his career. One of those was last week, and they lost the game. So they're going to be making it a focal point to get the ball to their best player. That was only 4. What's my 5th one? 5th one, Velus Jones, wide receiver, Tennessee, over 3.5 receptions. Why? Because he plays for Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel runs a million plays. Josh Heupel likes to feed his number 1 wide receiver targets. That's Velus Jones. He's a USC transfer. He was injured to start the year, came back, had 7 receptions. His average depth of target is below 5 yards. So they're just throwing to him, peppering with targets at the line of scrimmage. They're going to do that here against a bad Southern Carolina team. So there you go. Win some money on those prize picks.
Okay.
Yo, I love when JD gets into player prop and DFS mode. You just saw him go into a different mode at 7:40 in the AM over there, and he just woke up because he got a little bit ripe.
I think
JD,
the coffee just hit him. Like you saw it actually
baby.
just hit like force through his veins right there.
So there's JD. I know I putting you on the spot here at this one. You could potentially get back to us, but the last 2 weeks, I've taken the top wide receiver going against UVA's defense for their over in yards. So Rambo, he cashed pretty easy last week. Louisville, I mean, with that high total, I know the yards are going to be high. Is it worth rolling it back for the 3rd week with a player prop for the Louisville wide receivers?
You could. I agree. Virginia's been a money train. Both their overs and then people going against them has been a money train. Louisville doesn't have wide receivers. So if anything, I think you'd have to look at Marshawn Ford, the tight end. Looking at tight ends in college is super tricky because that data is just really hard to find. Finding what the linebackers and safeties are like in coverage is really hard stuff. But I think Marshawn Ford, he's pretty clearly the number 1 guy. So if you're looking at wide receiver, I'd look at him, their tight end.
JD, you wanna explain a little bit what Prize Picks is? We have a question in the chat about it. If you want to get into that a little bit.
Yeah, it's a newer platform. They've been gaining in popularity a ton. I think they're going to keep gaining in popularity. Basically, you just get a projection. So it's I know. I just get excited about this kind of stuff. We've been killing it. I hit last week. I do 5. I like to do the 5 entries. You can choose between 2 and 5. If you do 5, you hit all 5. You get a 10 times payout. The parlay would be. I hit 3 of those last week, and I just hit one on the Thursday and Friday game. So these college football lines are sharp and soft because it's a newer product. And as one of the only people in the country who follows college fantasy football religiously, I'm like, oh my God, these lines are so soft. Let me just absolutely smash them. So anyway, it's Prize Picks. They have their app. They have their website. Go ahead and check it out, prizepicks.com. They're running all these great promos. They're giving you free money to play with. You get a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. You can use promo code Yonke. That's YKE. I guess Yonker is just my Twitter handle. Kind of confusing. But you can go ahead and check out my page at Yonker CFB. All that's there. So you can get free $100. And if you like any of these plays, just go ahead and play them. But it's a pretty good platform. It's not like DFS, like DraftKings or FanDuel, where you're playing against a whole pool. It's basically just you versus the spread about it. It's like if you have a killer week in DraftKings and you're like, what the hell, my $12 turned into $15 or I had the same lineup as 100 people and I didn't win any money. Here you don't have to worry about it. You just have to worry about beating the spread.
There we go. We'll get into this question in the chat. How we feel on these? Any thoughts on these spreads? Georgia Tech -4.5, West Virginia +2, or Ohio State 21.5.
So to answer Sosa's questions with the player props, I just get them from the Every Sport 247, the fine folks offshore wherever they are. But if you have the prop builder tab on any of your books, it's always hidden in prop builder for college football. Other markets do sometimes have it. I wanted to play Duke really bad, and that's when I just know I shouldn't do it against Georgia Tech there. So I just stayed away from that one. West Virginia, no strong feelings there, but I would lay it with Ohio State. I'm personally not laying it, but that's the big number that I've wanted to lay today is that 21 with Ohio State.
Yeah, it's just the only thing that would scare me off the Ohio State one is kind of how their defense has played this year. I know it. I haven't watched them since really the Oregon game in depth, but just the way their defense kind of looked early, I haven't, like I said, I haven't watched them. But I mean, with how Maryland looked last week against like out when they were outmatched against like superior athletes and a better coach team, I wouldn't hate laying the 21.5 there.
I got to look on the Baylor game. Well, he said West Virginia, but I got to look on the Baylor game. So give me Baylor -3. I'm not sold on West Virginia. I'm not sold on Baylor, but it's not a play I'll make. But it was a lean that I was leaning strong towards Baylor before actually solidifying my card. It didn't make my card, but Baylor -3. I don't know. It's an interesting matchup, but I think Baylor can pull it off. It was a close game last year. I think this is a touchdown game, and I think Baylor will cover the spread easy.
Okay. JD, any thoughts on any of those?
To be honest, no. Those are three.
Yeah.
Those are three pretty rough games. We're swimming in the swamp there. That's dirty.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get into our personal cards for the day. I'll give Goose's since he is not here today. He is at Rutgers homecoming. Probably has a sign of praising the punter over at Rutgers. But Goose's three plays for the day. Oklahoma -3, TCU Texas Tech under 61, and Memphis Tulsa under 61. So a couple unders for Goose. Simba, let's go ahead and get into your card. You're the guest. We'll let you go first.
New guy on the show. All right, here we go, man. We're going 5-0 with these picks. 5-0. All right.
We'll put you in the top spot for guest picker.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're going 5-0, man. Hey, first timers. Good luck, man. Here we go. I gave it out early. Texas +3.5. I think Texas can pull this off. I think they can win outright. So if you guys want to take the money line, hey, doesn't bother me. But I will be taking the points. Texas +3.5 at -116. I also like the over in that game. Texas Oklahoma over. I got it at 63.5. It's moving up, and I got it at -105. And my favorite pick of the day, Iowa -1. I think it's up to 2 now. But I got it at -1 at -112. I think Iowa pulls it off. I just don't understand the line. If it's a trap, it's a trap. But give me Iowa, the home team, better on defense. I'll take it. Alabama first half -12.5 at -113. I think that's a lock. Like we said, 19 times in a row. Texas A&M is trash. And my last play of the day is Georgia first half -8.5. I don't think Auburn scores in the first half at all. Again, like I said earlier, maybe 3 points. Georgia's going to stop those guys. That defensive line is ferocious. And I got that at -110.
All right. You heard it. 5-0. Go lock them in. Rex, what we got?
Whew, you ready? A little bit smaller of the slate today, but 2 of the plays that I gave out were Ole Miss first half -3.5 at even, and Nebraska +3 at -115. That's currently still available on BetMGM. If you have that book out there, I know 2.5s are out there. I would not pay more than -125 to buy up to the 3 for the juice if you need to do that. JD, I know you might have some feelings on this one, but I gotta take Boise State +6. I don't think Halen, even if he is back, I don't know how healthy he's going to be, and Romney there as well with Conover coming in. They just struggled to move that ball against Utah State's defense, and sure, they kept it safe and they kept it clean, just get the win there. Coming back home, this is basically assuming that Romney and Halen aren't 100% healthy, because I think Boise State's defense can get ripped to shreds if Romney's able to run out there, but that concussion he took, he doesn't look healthy. Halen with the ribs, I don't know how much he's going to be able to expose it deep, so they are just going to be able to pack the box here. I like the +6. If Halen's confirmed the starter, you'll see a 7 pop. So you can potentially wait it out since it's a 4:00 game, but I got the +6 for Boise going into BYU there. And then our hungry dog runs faster, Sam, of the week. The line, one of them that it kind of makes sense, but doesn't at the same time. We're taking the Cougars, Washington State, at home, plus 160. Oregon State coming in. We're taking the Cougars as home dogs.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Hopefully we get the video later tonight.
4 plays only. You can take the Washington State plus 4 if you want less risk or whatever.
All right, JD, you got into your prop plays. Let's hear the rest of your card.
Yeah, I got a decent amount here. So I got Air Force. I think I have 9. I took Air Force -5 over Wyoming. This Wyoming team was in danger of losing to UConn last week. Looking through their schedule, I don't think they've done anything impressive. Air Force has been pretty good. I'll take Air Force -5 at home. Wyoming's not very good on the road. Very, very good home field advantage at Laramie, but not on the road. Took the Auburn, Georgia under, as I mentioned earlier. I took Ball State, Western Michigan over 57.5. You look at the points per game for both teams, and they would scream under for this one. But I think what it is, this MAC conference, very high scoring last year, not a lot of defense. These are 2 offensive first teams. I think the points per game have been dragged down in non-con play when they're kind of overmatched, facing some good defenses. So I think I'm going to try to take advantage of that with some MAC overs. This is the one I like most this week. I took Georgia Southern Troy under 51.5. Troy can't move the ball, but their defense is nasty. This is one of the better defenses in the group of 5. So I'm going to look for their unders. I took TCU -2 over Texas Tech. I think they could have beat Texas last week. I think they were in that game. I just think they're the better team. UTSA +3.5. Rex would probably tell me this line is fishy. I don't understand why this line is the way it is, and I'm getting a hook. I think they're the better team. So Rex would probably tell me to stay off, but I can't help myself. I'm playing it.
Take that one. I like that one. I was looking at that one for way too long, and then after it's like 20 minutes into this game, I go, there's other games I got to look at. Sam's going to yell at me if I spend too much time on it.
Yeah, I don't get it. And they're a run first team. Western Kentucky can't stop the run at all. It's probably going to be high scoring. You give me 3.5 points. Sure. All right. And then I have 4 more player props. So these ones are at FanDuel. If you have access to FanDuel and the prop builder, like Rex was talking about, I think most of these are on there as well. I took Bijan Robinson over 18.5 receiving yards. His rushing props are juiced way to hell. This is how you beat this team. Oklahoma gave up. What did they give up? They gave up 10 receptions for and a touchdown to Deuce Vaughn last week. That's a running back. Bijan's better than Deuce Vaughn. Give me him. I'm going to take Greg Dulcich, UCLA tight end, over 49.5. Sam could tell you all about that guy when they played LSU. Jalen Mitchell over 69.5 rushing yards. That's the running back Rex mentioned previously. Virginia's defense has given up over 250 rushing yards per game in ACC play. No good. And then I'm taking Keontae Ingram, USC running back, over 12.5 receiving yards. Basically, USC doesn't run the ball. They throw the ball. It's an air raid team. This is a receiving back. This is kind of a scat back guy. I don't know why it's at 12.5. He's gone over that, and I think it's 3 of his last 4. And that's my card. It's a juicy one. That's all I got.
Yeah, mine's a little bit chalky. I just kind of wanted to stay with the big games today. Got some oblos to take care of with the lady later today. Not gonna be able to watch as much football today, but pretty chalky card for me. Oklahoma, Texas over 63.5. Got that earlier in the week. It's gone up, like Simba said. It's my rule. Have to take it. Got Ole Miss -6 for the full game. Georgia first half -8.5. Georgia full game -14.5. Got both those earlier. Most of my plays were locked in earlier this week. So and then I locked in our Auburn team total under 14.5 this morning. Iowa -2. Bama first half. Bama full game. So those are the ones I'm giving out. I will probably find a way to go 500 or like one game over 500. I found out I'm the most average gambler in America the last few weeks. So you can't tail me. You can't fade me. I'm just right in the middle. So
Sam, I can't let this episode end if we haven't mentioned the biggest game of the day.
What's the biggest game of the day?
I think JD knows where I'm going with this one. UConn versus UMass.
Oh, no, the toilet bowl.
I know. I'm just fucking. It's 0-6 or 0-5. If you're watching this on Flow Sports, man, best of luck to you. I'll shake your hand, but you're a crazy person if you're watching like for this game.
I mean, I thought UConn, there's no way they could have a worse game than last week, but like they somehow, how has the scheduler managed to just like make the worst schedule of the season with with the schedule. Like they keep topping themselves somehow with the shitty opponents they have to play.
And no one cares enough to look what UConn's doing a week in advance to say, shit, a worse one's about to come up.
Yeah. So one last question. Any thoughts on Florida team total over 48.5 versus Vandy? Anyone got anything for that one?
No, thank you. Or I mean, it's Vandy.
It's Vandy,
Who
so
knows
it could
what
happen. But I get if you have to. I mean, at least Dan Mullen's not gonna like not run up the score. So you got that in your favor if you want to play it. But I'm not gonna touch that one at all.
I would lean under. I don't think I would touch it, but I think that's the only way to play that. They're more of a running team this year. Like you said, Dan Mullen, not exactly running up the score. That's the only way it could look. I would Vanderbilt just tries to keep the ball on the ground and just get out of there without losing by 65.
Yeah. So with that, we'll close out the show. Shout out to Pick City, our sponsor for the show, Daily Bread Media. Everyone have a great day. Let's go win some money. Everyone except Ed Ogeron. So let's go. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see y'all next week.